The immortal John Hancock here, and I'm super stoked about getting a preview early copy of the Sega Genesis Flashback HD by AtGames. I've been awaiting this. I heard about it. I think it could possibly be a great device. Not only does it have 85 built-in games, but it also has 2 wireless 6-button controllers and the ability to play your old school cartridges on top of allowing you to play with your wired controllers as well. Is it worth it? Let's check it out. Alright, so here's the box. The Sega Genesis Flashback HD by AtGames. Pretty sweet. Pretty cool looking box. Like that Sonic on there. And here's the side of it. Really cool. Nice sturdy box. Kind of shows a little bit of info there. AtGames, and on the back shows many of the games and many more that are actually built into the console. I think that's really cool that it's got a lot of officially released Sega Genesis games and more built right in, just in case many of you don't have the cartridges themselves to play. Really cool. Alright, so we open this up, and first thing you notice is a really cool like poster / instructions. And we open it up, and it has that. Really cool. So you got a really cool poster on one side, and on the back side, it's all your instructions. Really cool. I love it when companies do stuff like this. You know, that's just another example of some goodies. Alright, so we'll put that aside. And the moment we've been waiting for, what does the actual console look like? Well, here we go. There it is, pretty light. And there it is. Has a menu button, on and off, very much similar to the original Sega Genesis. Information on the back. And HDMI jack right there. Power. And just to put in comparison, because I know a lot of people were asking, how much smaller is it than an original Genesis? Well, I have one right here. And so this is a Genesis that I'll do in a future review. And so that's the difference. That's this is the size of the AtGames Sega Genesis. Pretty cool. They actually did a really good job making it close to the original. Smaller, sleeker. The other thing I want to note is that there are rubber feet on the bottom, which is kind of nice, so it doesn't slide around. So that's cool. And what else we got here? We got 2 6-button wireless controllers, and they do take 2 AAA batteries. My apologies. I was trying to get it open here. Oh, that's pretty interesting. So for the controllers, you have to use a screwdriver to unscrew the backs of them so it keeps that on. That's pretty good. That's good to know. So we have 2 6-button controllers, pretty light. They take AAA batteries, 2 AAA batteries. And just for comparison here, I have the 6-button controller here. In comparison, that's what the original 6-button controller for Sega Genesis, and this is the AtGames wireless one. Okay. Does come with the HDMI hookups. Let's open it up here. I want a decent length, enough to do the job. Also comes with a power brick. And one thing I want to note that I really like that companies do this is they make them like this. So it's easy to fit multiple things in a power strip or a power outlet. I love that they make them like this instead of the huge large power brick of the original. Very cool. So that's just kind of what comes with the actual package. Let's check it out, fire it up, and see how it plays. Alright, here's the menu of the Sega Genesis Flashback HD. And the menu navigation takes a little bit to get used to, and let me explain. Using the 6-button controller, you can either use a 6-button controller that it comes packaged with, either the wireless ones. I recommend a wired controller. It is a little bit faster. There's less hesitation on the menu screen. And by pressing B on your 6-button controller, you go down the left-hand side. You choose alphabetical, all the games, my favorites. Now let's look at just some of the titles that are on this console. Built in are amazing. I mean, they did a wonderful job securing several of the classic titles that made the Sega Genesis awesome. Sega games, Sonic games, you just want to jump right to the Sonic games, and then bonus games. These bonus games aren't great games. They're aftermarket games. They're just kind of thrown in. I like how they named them bonus games because a lot of them are pretty bad. And so we go back up. I'm just going to show you every game that's on here listed. And again, it's faster to navigate the menu with a wired controller. That's what I recommend. Also, I want to note is that you can't use a 3-button controller on this console. It's not set up for it. It has to be a 6-button controller. But what's really cool is that a 6-button controller has all the functions. And so it's pretty neat. So definitely get yourself a wired 6-button controller. Call it good. So look at some of these titles though. I mean, just all 3 Golden Axe. They have Jewel Master, Kid Chameleon, Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, all the Phantasy Stars. It's really cool they have the first Phantasy Star too. I'm a huge fan of that. Rise Star, Shadow Dancer, Shinobi 3, Shining the Darkness, Shining Force 1 and 2. Tons of Sonics. I mean, even Game Gear Sonics. The Ooze. The only franchise that's like glaring missing from Sega is Streets of Rage. I don't know why. But not seeing any of the Streets of Rage games on this built in, that's a bummer. But the cool thing is it's got a cartridge slot. So, you just pop in your Streets of Rage game and you're good. All right, so let's go check out some games. All right, Alter Beast. One of my favorites because it was my very first Sega Genesis game I played when I bought my console with my own money. And this console has some really cool features. So it's got Alter Beast built in. I'm really excited about that. So here's what's cool. Okay, so you press start the game. You press this and it pops up a menu so you can save your games. It's got save slots. And you can quit the game, resume current game. That's awesome. On a wired controller, the one feature you can't do is the rewind, and that's kind of cool. It saves you from a death or something. That's kind of cool. The feature I wanted to show you is a Scanline Filter. So you put that on, and I really, really like that. I really like that you have a Scanline feature option. It gives it kind of a more authentic feel. And actually, I found myself playing with the Scanlines on. It just looks great. I mean, it sounds great. I know that At Games in the past has had some sound issues. I'm not hearing it with this. I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but it sounds really good. I mean, it sounds like a Genesis. And this is just great. I mean, I just feel like I'm playing like an original Sega Genesis console. And so I really am excited about that. I think their game lineup is great. I do notice a slight lag with the 6-button wireless. It's not too bad. I've played quite a bit with it, and you get kind of used to it. It's not as bad as because it's 2.4 gigahertz, so it's not as bad as it's not like infrared or anything. But for people that don't notice any lag, I just play with a wired controller. I mean, that's what's cool about this console is you just plug in your favorite 6-button controller, call it good. And so, again, I think the sound's a lot better. Gameplay looks great. If you don't like the scan lines, you just go there, press Y, and you be the judge. You be the judge, kind of what you think looks better, and there you have it. So I mean, it looks wonderful. All right, it's got Golden Axe 3. I'm really excited about that. Golden Axe 3 was never put on cartridge in the United States. And so just pretty sweet that they included it with this. And just want to show it. I like being a Puma, the Beast. This is not the best game, but again, I'm such a Golden Axe fan, and being a brawler and stuff, I still enjoy playing this. Never beat it. It's always one I wanted to beat. It's the one I didn't. I need to sit down and play this. But I really think that this collection of games on this console is great. It's really good. I think it has a lot of what Sega did that Nintendo did. I always thought that Sega was kind of had some more kind of more mature content, not like adult or anything, but just I always thought that Sega was kind of catering to people that grew up with Atari a little bit more. And I just, Golden Axe series is an example of that. I played a lot of brawlers in the arcades and stuff, and I just enjoyed playing this. And so this is great. I mean, it plays like the original. I'm not seeing any noticeable differences in sound or gameplay. I do, again, I've said this before, I would say prefer playing with a wired controller. Not that the 6-button controllers that it comes with are pretty good. If that's the only thing you got, it's great. It's got a nice D-pad. The controllers are very comfortable. And, part of it is, I think that Sega Genesis had one of the best 6-button controllers made. And so I enjoy playing with them. I think it's awesome that it has some built-in Game Gear games. And they're good games. So this is Tails Adventure, and completing my Game Gear loose cart set. This one eluded me for a bit. It's fairly uncommon in the United States, but yeah, it looks good. Again, you have the option of either having it look like this. Again, you can do the Scanline Filter even on the Game Gear stuff, and it can look like this. So it's your choice. So this is Tails. It's a kind of a cool game. It's Tails on his own adventure, and so it's a little different. But again, I liked it. Liked it a lot because it was different. Tails wasn't being the sidekick anymore. Yeah, sometimes being the sidekick all the time, it gets old. But yeah, it's fun game. Again, you want to turn the scan line off, you just yoink, and pretty easy. Again, with your wired controller, that's the one feature that it won't have is the rewind feature, but everything else can be done. Something I need to mention, by changing a 6-button wired controller to a 3-button mode, that's how you pull up the menu on your controller. It's really a nice feature. Alright, as some of you may know, the Sega Genesis Flashback HD, the big advantage of this is it actually takes Sega Genesis cartridges. Now, before I test these four, I already tested some and want to let people know. This system does not work with Virtua Racing. I know, it's something about that SVP chip. Virtua Racing doesn't work. I did try an EverDrive 1.0. That doesn't work. And I also tried a Power Base Mini, which for some of you who don't know, Stone Age Gamer sells an adapter to play Master System games on Sega Genesis and some clones. That doesn't work either. So the bottom line is, if it's a standard Sega Genesis cart, it should work. And some homebrews work and some reproductions work. I know that AtGames worked really hard to get as many as possible to work, so it's kind of a case-by-case basis. So I'm going to test these 4 games below, and I'm going to showcase how they run. So one thing that is going to take a little bit to get used to is that you have to turn your console off to insert a cartridge, and then turn it back on, and then you'll get the loading screen where it's loading the cartridge. And so that's a little bit annoying. I know with the Retron 5 you can just insert a cartridge and it'll load it. On this console you have to turn it off. So once a cartridge is loaded, you can, on the left hand side on the menu there, you can go down to cartridge games, and Rocket Knight Adventures, and press A. The reason why I'm showing Rocket Knight Adventures is that on previous clones, like the Retron 3, I was told that Rocket Knight Adventures did not play correctly. So I wanted to showcase this game. Looks like it's working great. Looks great. Just wanted to show it working. And it's working. Controls great. Yeah. There you go. Rocket Knight Adventures working great on the console. Next up is Snow Brothers. Snow Brothers is a reproduction cart, and I got my copy from Lost Classics. Chris Trimmey is a friend of mine. He produces these, and pretty much Snow Brothers fires right up. Works great, and go ahead and play. It's an awesome game. If you haven't played this on the Genesis version, it's awesome. Definitely worth checking out. Felix Jr. is one of the more popular homebrew games for Sega Genesis, and again, it looks amazing. Looks really good, and you know, with the touch of a button, you can get those scan lines. Now, this one game in particular, I actually think it looks better with the scan lines on, because it looks more like a classic arcade monitor. Pretty fun. Nice introduction. So you get to watch this game, which mimics the Fix-It Felix intro. A lot of fun. It's really cool that someone made a homebrew of the arcade game. That's just pretty awesome. But again, you know, it's plays, boots right up when you put it in this console. So it's great to see this. I'll showcase the game a little bit. It's a lot of fun. I do believe my twin, John C. Reilly, was the voice of Ralph in Wreck-It Ralph. So, yeah.
I can fix it.
So the game pretty much, you're Fix-It Felix, and you have to avoid Ralph and climb up and fix stuff with your magic hammer. It's got a long intro, I know. And go on to the next level. So upon trying Super Street Fighter 2, it doesn't work. I've tried it a couple times. My cart's really clean. Super Street Fighter 2 is one of the bigger cartridges for Sega Genesis. It's 40 megs. So it doesn't work. And so I'm trying Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition. And this one works. Loads up. So a little disappointed that it doesn't play Super Street Fighter 2, but the next best thing for the Genesis is the Champion Edition. So there you have it. You know, it works. Game sounds alright. Again, you can use the scan lines if you wish. Maybe Blanca. And yeah, definitely on fighters. I'm glad I'm showing this, but for fighters, definitely wired 6-button controller. You're gonna have less delay. The delay is not major. It's not a deal breaker. But you know, definitely I notice it. So there you have it. Pretty cool device. I think it's pretty awesome. I think for the price of $79.99 is the retail price of this, and it's going to be available at major retailers. Retailers such as Target, GameStop, Best Buy, Bed Bath & Beyond, and Toys R Us. I do believe that pre-orders will open up at the end of summer at some of those major retailers. You may have to check them out. The availability of this product will be September of 2017, this year. So definitely check it out. I think it's a great product for someone who's a fan of Sega that wants to play on a modern TV, on top of, you know, maybe someone that wants to dabble with some retro gaming. This is a good product. It gets my thumbs up. Thank you so much for people around the world who've taken time out of their day to watch one of my videos. I do 3 videos a week, one on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and I typically upload at 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I also have a Patreon if you want to support me there. Thank you so much. My hat's off to all my fans and viewers around the world. This is the Immortal John Hancock. Take care.